everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Kandid. Today, I'm here with Chloe, and she is going to be talking to you all today about how you can chart your own path and live a life with vision and purpose. Stay tuned. Hi, Chloe.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on today's episode.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
You're welcome. Let's start with just letting the viewers know a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm Chloe A. Mondesir. I'm 24 years old. I'm originally from Queens, New York, but currently based in Atlanta, Georgia, a proud Spelman alumna, and a candidate for organizational leadership through Mercer University.
All right. Okay, so Chloe.
Yes.
You mentioned you went to Spelman College.
Yes, I did.
And now you mentioned you're a candidate for
Yes.
a master's program
Yes.
at Mercer University.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your undergraduate journey and
Okay.
what you were thinking you were going to be when you graduated.
Completely different than where I am right now. So that's okay if you're in that situation or one day find yourself in that situation. It's completely normal. I think more people detour than they admit to. But I was a psychology major at Spelman. I just knew I was going to be a clinical psychologist. And when I graduated and started my first grad program at another institution, I quickly found out that that was not the path for me. And so although I was passionate about healing people and about holistic wellness and people feeling great about themselves, I became more interested in what that looks like in a business. And what it looks like when bettered people better organizations. And so that's how I got into org leadership and currently human resources.
So just kind of tell us, when did something snap that let you know that this was not the right path for you anymore?
Well, I'd say initially it was my studies,
Okay.
but I began to see that the studies were a sign that I was being consumed a little bit more than I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I began to have to get realistic with myself and realize that maybe it wasn't the healthiest career path that I should have been following. Me personally, I've become very invested in my relationships, and you need to know yourself and be self-aware when you're selecting your career and what it is that you want to do.
Right.
And so I don't think that would have been the healthiest choice for me. I think you have to know yourself.
Right.
So business we are in now.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell us, did you find yourself going back and forth a lot?
Yes. I didn't want to start over. I was in my first program for a year, and I had a year left, and I wanted to stick it out. Some people ask, like, how did you even make it through a year? I wanted to finish what I started. That's very much my personality. But I also wanted to be happy, and I wanted to be satisfied with what I was doing and for the right reasons. And so I knew that the correct program, I would ultimately get there, and fortunately I did in the fall of that same year. So
good for you. Tell us a little bit about, once you decided to pursue organizational leadership,
yes.
What sort of opportunities or new opportunities did you discover?
Well, I've always been the sort of person I'd like to think that goes after what she wants. And so I saw the founder, Nick Bay, of Relevant Systems. That's a Black-owned tech startup based in Chicago. And they're interested in app production, software development, those sort of things. But he had a particular mission to want to leverage the amount of women and minorities into tech. And so basically he's pursuing Black women or other minority groups of women to become tech entrepreneurs. And that was a mission that I really believed in. But I wasn't really in the tech space. And I wondered what I could contribute, but I reached out to him anyway. And I think that that's a great lesson. People, if you're interested in something, if you want to meet somebody, just put yourself out there. What have you got to lose? If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. At least you tried.
Right.
So I reached out to him, and he was still building his team. And I'm working remotely now in HR for him. And so I help with recruiting, employee onboarding, building our internship program.
Things that have to do with organizational leadership.
Things that have to do with organizational leadership.
That's a good story, because what that tells me is once you opened yourself to other opportunities,
yes.
you were able to explore different career paths that
yes.
also aligned with your interest.
Yes.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about, how do you, in your opinion, how do you think that people find what's important to them deep down and then learn that that's the path they're supposed to pursue?
I think experience pays. So in
Okay.
my case, straight from Spelman, I went into one program, it didn't work. I ended up in another program. From there, I was interviewing for a lot of traditional corporate jobs, 9 to 5s. That wasn't working. I did that for 6 months. And then I reached out to Nick Bay after that. So for me, it's been a lot of experience. It's been a lot of failures and figuring things out. And sometimes, though, I think it's just being still and just sitting and having those difficult conversations with yourself, asking yourself those questions. What do you want to do? What are you willing to do for what you want to do once you figure that out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and not only asking yourself questions, but being just honest about it. Because so often as millennials or as young people, we try and hide what we really want to do for fear that it won't be accepted by our parents or our peers, and also for fear that it won't give us the financial stability that we desire.
And I've been through all of that. Yeah. And I'm here to say the peace of mind that you have when you figure it out for yourself, it's unmatched.
If you are interested in charting your own path or discovering your own path, what are some things someone should consider?
What's going to happen if you don't? Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times we operate in so many aspects of our life out of fear, and embracing fearlessness has probably been like the biggest blessing that I could have given myself. You know, what's on the other side of fear, outside of your comfort zone, is what's meant for you.
Right.
And so just, again, throwing yourself out there, not being afraid.
All right. So what have been some of the benefits that you found once you discovered a new path?
Peace of mind, happiness. I feel very independent, although my parents are still helping me out a little financially while I'm in school. Just knowing that you're doing what you want to do can make things a lot easier. It can be uncomfortable, but now I'm comfortable even in discomfort. Yeah. You know, and that's not something that I would have known had I not been in the wrong program first. Right. Or not done jobs that I didn't love. Or just been in spaces where I didn't always know what was going on or what was going to happen next.
Right. No, and that really resonates with me in particular because, you know, so often people just have to go and do things because they have obligations, and people are counting on them to be a breadwinner or a source of funds. Yes. And so what you see is some people don't have a choice. Right. You know? And that's the negative. That's the negative. That's the disadvantage, is that you don't have a choice sometimes. Yes. But if you can have a choice, maximize it makes a world of a difference. Even if it's just 2 choices. Yes. You now have a choice.
You now have a choice.
Yeah. So
that was a great point you made, because sometimes, people just they don't have the choice. They need the money. Right. But I haven't been in that space yet. But I'm prepared for it. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so tell us, now that you're on that new journey to being an organizational leader, I'm sure some wonderful company one day.
Speak into existence.
Yes, that's my Spelman sister, y'all. CEO of.
Okay.
But just tell us, has it been more stress-free or more stressful?
The process is stressful. Okay. Feeling uncomfortable, as great as it feels when you're on the other side and you're in a good place and a good space where I am now, in the right program, love what I do, working on a book, like all these creative projects, that's great. But it costs, you know, everything costs, and that can be very trying sometimes. And so that's a little stressful. Still hearing from my parents, you know, when are your benefits coming from a job? You know, I'm 24, but at 26, I'm going to need that. Right. I'm going to need, you know, those things. And so it's different for everybody. But I'd say it's more stress-free than stressful.
All right. So now I want to get some of your advice. What advice do you have for those who want to chart their own path? They want to go on a different journey, but they have other obligations in place right now.
Well, deal with your formal obligations first. If it's bills and you need money and you need a job, then go for that first. But if you have a little bit more room, then pace yourself and figure things out. You know, I believe that there's a time for everything. Mm-hmm. So grad school, for me, this was my time to focus on my studies. But I haven't taken this time for granted. I've also tried to create opportunities even while being a student. So in my case, it was school first and a job after.
All right.
But it's different for everyone.
Right. So what advice do you have for those who just can't figure out what they want to do?
I think asking yourself difficult questions is very important. It can be hard to be honest with yourself, but if you're not honest with yourself, who's going to be honest with you? But when you have a certain level of self-awareness, I believe that everything else falls into place. You know, when you know what works for you, what doesn't, what makes you happy, what doesn't, what sort of environments you like, what sort of leadership styles you need in an employer or that you can bring to a space, all those sort of things matter. And you figure them out when you sit with yourself and take the time to invest in yourself and learn yourself in that way.
So this is a surprise question.
Oh my goodness.
You guys already know how it starts. It's a finish my sentence.
Okay.
And it is, after I discovered my path, I felt
proud.
Boom. And there you have it. Thank you all for watching today's interview. Chloe, tell everyone how we can keep up with you.
My Insta blog, Woman is the Wonder.
Okay.
The tech startup, Relevant Systems. The Instagram is relevant.systems.
All right. Well, if you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I'll also leave Chloe's information. Chloe, thank you for coming on today's episode. Thank you for having me so much. You are most welcome. We hope you all enjoyed today's interview, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.